This is your girl, Ms. Entertainment. I am your host for Let's Talk About It. So welcome to my world. We're getting ready to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Ms. Entertainment, and welcome to my world. So before we get started, I want to send out all my prayers and well wishes to each and everybody. This world is under attack, but this too shall pass, and we will survive. So we have an amazing show today. We have Miss Ameenah Kaplan joining us today, and let's get this party started. Let's go. She is the recipient of the NAACP award multiple times. She's an actor, a director, musician. She's done theater, movies, and TV. This woman has done it all. Welcome, Miss Ameenah Kaplan. Welcome, 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 Miss Ameenah. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so
My
happy.
pleasure.
Thank you. So before we dive into this, tell the audience some of the amazing things that you've been doing.
Hey there, everybody. My name is Ameenah Kaplan. I make my living as a professional actor, sometimes as a drummer, sometimes as a choreographer, but lately mostly as a director. I was in the original cast of Stomp when I was 19, the original American cast. I've been a drum coach for Blue Man Group for about 18 years. I'm a TV actor. I've had recurring roles on The Office and Grey's Anatomy, a few other shows, and currently I'm on Disney Plus's Encore. It's streaming right now. Been in a couple of Marvel's Avengers movies, and currently I am the resident director of the North American tour of Disney's The Lion King.
Okay.
Those are the highlights.
That's a lot. So proud of you. So proud of you. Now, talking about the Avengers, I really didn't start watching that until you was in there. So
Okay. And I'm only in there for like a minute and a half. So, well, actually, I did a bunch of work on the movie, but my actual screen time ended up being, like a minute or whatever, less than that. But I'm still super happy to be a part of it. That's for sure.
So how amazing was that, working on a production that huge?
Honestly, it was incredible. I can't even diminish it in any way, nor can I try and make it sound bigger than it was, because it was literally the biggest show in the world. It's two $500 million movies. And I booked a small part playing Gamora's mother in Avengers Infinity War, and kind of hit it off with the crew and the directors, and they were very kind to me, and had me come back and do a bunch of motion capture stuff for Infinity War and for Endgame. And I was surprised by the credit in Endgame. And so it was really kind of amazing to be enveloped in all of that technology, and just, things are really calm on that set. Like the Russo brothers have a cool vibe, and they know how to run a big production like that. And they know how to let people do their job. And I think that instilled a lot of confidence in the cast and crew. And so everyone was really chill, and it was very fun, and very, very tight security, which was pretty fun too. Yeah, and I bumped into Black Panther coming out of the wardrobe room, and I was
Wow.
like, he said hello to me, and I was like, so that was the highlight of my Avengers experience. Was bumping into Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, that
was pretty awesome.
That had to be amazing. So, with this COVID-19, everything has changed. And personally, I think we're going to be in a new normal. So How are you quarantining?
Yeah, well, I was actually on tour with The Lion King when all of this popped off. And so we were in, of all places, South Bend, Indiana. And, Thursday afternoon, we get called into the theater and told that basically we're disbanding immediately. And so my boyfriend is a carpenter. He was working on another Broadway show in Chicago. So I rendezvoused with him, and the two of us are now in Omaha, Nebraska at his parents', like his family home, because it was a good place for us to go when you're sort of instantly homeless and jobless. Like, in 10 minutes, you're like, no work, no home. And so we've been holed up here in the suburbs of Omaha, kind of chilling, really. It's been really nice here. Like, people are moving about, but taking their precautions. I do see people without their masks and without their gloves and talking too close. And it's a little weird when it's like someone who works in a public environment and they see a bunch of people all day long. But in general, we're taking precautions. I'm taking precautions. But the big thing really has been just the total devastation to live entertainment, which is where I've shifted my career to. Um, I always kind of I used to make this joke, my life was nothing if not ironic. And I just think it's so funny that I, work really hard in film and TV and get a pretty decent film and TV career going. And then I'm like, you know what? My true passion is the live entertainment. I want to go show create, basically. Like, I want to create big shows. That's what my dream is. And so I go off to do that and, start directing out there. And then 5 years later, some pandemic just comes along and absolutely shuts down the business. But we're not the only ones shut down. And also, I'm optimistic about what the future will hold. Like, I don't know what it will be, but I do know how important theater is to the survival of humanity. Really, we've been around since the beginning, live entertainment in particular. And yeah, it'll be different. And I don't know how. Maybe it'll be more outdoors, like maybe it'll be more theme park kind of stuff. But yeah, at the moment, I'm just trying to stay lean, stay fast, stay creative, and be optimistic about the future, because I definitely want to be a part of it. I'm not trying to leave the arts. It feels like anytime I do try and leave the arts, it just pulls me right back. And so I don't bother anymore. I just stay in the arts. So yeah, it's different though.
So no plans of getting a 9 to 5.
That's really funny, like, because I have tried to get 9 to 5s before. Now, technically, my job with Disney is a 9 to 5 resident director. It's a corporate job. I'm in a managerial position, essentially, managing another director's show. I'm taking care of Julie Taymor's show, and proud to do that. Um, but anything outside of the arts that I've ever tried to do has always been kind of a either an embarrassing failure or a dismal failure, either one. And I don't know what it is. Like, I go and I think I'm educated and I think my resume looks good, and I try and get some sort of interim job in between the arts or whatever, and it's just really never happened. I did some temping earlier in my career, in my early 20s and stuff, mid 20s and stuff like that, but um I haven't really had a full-time job outside of the arts. And so it's a little nerve-wracking. Um, so instead, I kind of think of things like more like a side hustle. So maybe real estate or something like that, where I can, like, be my own boss and kind of be an entrepreneur. That seems to be another avenue. But of course, you don't just like jump into real estate and start making money as soon as a pandemic happens. And then 2 weeks later, you have a great real estate job or whatever. You're owning property and blah, blah, blah. It just doesn't work like that. So we are in a bit of a flux, and it's like, what do trying to figure it out, and what school skills and tools do you have to generate a life for yourself. But as my sister constantly reminds me, I've made it this far, and so I don't feel particularly afraid. I have my moments, but in general, I feel like I have a positive outlook, and I think that everything's gonna be okay. Honestly, like, I think it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
So
I,
yeah,
eh, this too shall pass, and we just have to
yeah,
just stay in the now and stay in the here to make sure we make it to the other side of this
yeah.
craziness. Now, I did hear, like, word on the street is that they're trying to open up like the studios, like Tyler Perry, in July timeframe. Do you think
hmm
it's still kind of too soon?
it's hard for me to say. Like, my expertise are in the areas that I was talking about, like acting, drumming, dance, like the arts. And that's what I went to school for. That's like what I know. And in the same way that I would expect a surgeon or an epidemiologist to respect my expertise when they come into the theater, or whatever, of course they can have their opinions, but I would prefer them not to stand up in the middle of my show and redirect it as it's happening. I kind of have to have that same respect. These people went to school for what they do. They, they know. And so right now, I'm not trusting any one person. I'm trusting the scientific method. And the people that I see using the scientific method are the people that I'm listening to. And they are not without controversy or mistakes or whatever, because they are humans as well. And by them, I mean the CDC and essentially epidemiologists and every badass scientist and doctor who is right now trying to help us figure out what this thing is, how it impacts us, and how we can move forward. So all of that said, out of, with respect to what they do for a living and, what I do for a living, I kind of feel like I'm a subscriber to that school of thought that yes, you need to take precautions, wear your mask, like wash your hands, like just take those precautions. And at the same time, we got to move. We have to move forward. And some of us are going to get this thing, and many of us already have it, and and are asymptomatic. And it's like, I feel like those people are our best strength in terms of creating herd immunity to this, which is what we have done. That's the germ theory of disease. That is the thing that took us out of the dark ages, basically, where we were dying at age 25 or 30, to where now you have people living, and a good number of people, the boomers, are way older than any generation in the history of the world. And that is because of those same people who are telling us to wear a mask, wash our hands, stay at home right now. It's the same people. It's the same method. I mean, and so I tend to trust that method because it has been proven to save lives. And so I'm wearing a mask, but I'm also getting on with it.
Yeah, I sometimes, like, I think people forgot that this thing is still going on, because
Yeah.
I ran into a situation just yesterday where, I mean, she violated my 6 feet. I'm like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? I don't know
Yeah.
you. And she didn't
Yeah.
have on a mask. I'm like, come on, girl. So that's all right. I backed up. You're going to give me my 6 feet.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I've been a stickler for that as well. And especially with people who are employees who see a lot of people on a daily basis, like their job is to encounter a lot of people. It seems like to me, those individuals, waiters, like, the first people that come to mind, cashiers, people like this, really should take these precautions, wear a mask, stay 6 feet away, and not just for our protection, for your own, because you're seeing so many of us. And then once you have it and you're seeing, so the math is easy. um it's hard for me to say too soon. I really don't know, like I just don't know. I just don't know. And I'm a member of a business that's been absolutely decimated by this. Like, how do you do theater 6 feet apart?
Right.
It was hard to make money in the theater anyway, because it's so easy to turn on the TV. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the big thing, is it's like, how do you get people to come out? And we figured out a way to get people to come out. Physical theater, Stomp, Blue Man Group, Cirque du Soleil, Lion King, Bringing the Noise, Bringing the Funk. These are physical theater shows that do what I call up close magic. And we totally figured out how to get people out of their houses and into the theater or into the theme parks. And that requires grouping. And so I don't know what the solutions will be, but I'm optimistic that we'll find something. And I'm also optimistic that there's enough of us to where, if there are people who want to stay away, they stay away, and if there are people who want to come, they come. But it should be safe, period, like no matter what. And the studios, in terms of your original question, in terms of some of the studios opening up, it seems to me like that would happen, because it's a much more controlled environment where you can literally screen everybody that comes into the studio
True.
and who's working. And so, but you can't mitigate against all danger all the time. That's just not possible. And so otherwise, like, why did any of us get up and get in a car and drive? And like, we just get in a car like it's nothing every day. Meanwhile, that's the most dangerous thing. My goodness, one wrong move and the thing can blow. I just passed an accident on my way home, but we just get in the car and just go somewhere just to get a cheeseburger and come back or whatever. And so I think like fear is, as we know, is an instrument that can be used in a very effective way to hamper movement and thought and imagination, and fear hampers all kinds of things.
That's true.
So yeah, so
That's very true.
it's hard to know though. I don't know the answer. Yeah.
I know I was watching, and Will Packer was talking about they was going to open up the studios in what's that? I believe in Iceland. Is actually, I guess the prices with
Yeah.
flights over there was a lot in the, I guess the restrictions is not restrictions is not as stringent now. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff, but I think you're onto something with the outdoor theater, so that would give people, the necessary room that they need. So that's not, maybe that can be a viable option for the live performances to come back, at least for now, until we get all this stuff under control. I think that's an actual viable idea.
Yeah, I'm into it. Like that's where theater began, was in the amphitheater. And
True.
if you've ever been to Greece, and like, I've gotten a chance to like go into some of these like original theaters, and I think I went into, I don't want to, it's been so many years, like I'm about to say something and everyone's gonna be like, that's not true. You'll get a million emails, she's historically inaccurate. But we visited, I think, the very first theater in when we were in Greece, and it was, this beautiful amphitheater, or it's in ruins or whatever, but it was beautiful ruins. And you go in there and the acoustics are perfect. And you're standing down in the bottom there. And I mean, you literally feel like you have the audience in the palm of your hand. And when you're sitting in the audience, you can hear a pin drop on the stage. I mean, it's incredible, like the design. So yeah, I'm into it. Like I'm into it. I'm also into the idea that some of these houses are, 2,000-3,000 seat houses. You fill it up halfway and you still can have like a viable experience. Maybe we do 2 shows a day. Like I have no idea what the solutions are, but we will figure it out. I'm also really optimistic. Like there's this two major viruses that go around that you get from close proximity. One of them people die from it. Thousands die every year. One of them, we just pass it around and we just keep passing it, and we get it and we just keep passing it. That's the common cold. And the other one is the flu. And so we've been passing these things back and forth to each other since time, and the Spanish flu was very bad, but we figured out a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
And now we take a shot and you have herd immunity, and it still does not stop people from getting the flu and dying from it. It just doesn't. And you sit right next to people and you get the flu, and you sit right next to them and you get the cold, you get the common cold. Like common cold passes through us so much that I don't even think I personally don't even sometimes realize I have a cold. I'm just like a little stuffy, but it doesn't slow me down. And I think one of the things that I've certainly learned from this pandemic is that if I have a cold, even if I'm capable of going, I shouldn't. I should take that 48 hours, 72 hours and quarantine myself so that I'm not contagious to other people. And that is huge for me. That's how common the cold is we just walk around sick and don't even worry about it. And so I'm cautious but optimistic about our ability to get through this, and not destroy our society in the process, because we're doing a pretty good job of that in other ways. So let's not destroy it with the disease.
That's true. Now it looks like everybody is doing the social media, going live or whatever, being that people are home. Do you feel the pressure to stay relevant, keep your name out there, to do more social media posting and stuff like that?
Yeah, for sure. And I've noticed that with some friends of mine too, like people who are never online, like my boyfriend who now has reopened his Facebook account, or, just absolutely. And even me, like I'm a watcher of Facebook and a happy birthday giver, but not really a participant. And even I've been participating a little bit more lately. But I always feel the pressure to kind of stay relevant and stay out there. I'm in entertainment, and being a public figure is just kind of part of what we do. And it's a reluctant aspect of it, because it's not my forte, or I'm not the greatest at doing that kind of thing, like networking and social media. But yeah, like if you don't, I feel like you're kind of like the parent who was like, what is that rock and roll? If you're not, if you're not hip to stuff. Excuse me. It's not COVID, it's just dry throat.
I was getting
And I don't
worried,
have,
like, uh-oh.
I didn't bring my water in here. What was I thinking? I'm going to talk for an hour with no water. I don't know what I was thinking.
Right. So what's next for you? Meaning,
Yeah.
what's next after COVID-19? Because we're really not sure how long this having the world on pause is paused.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts? So what
Yeah.
will you be doing next?
Yeah. I'm right now staying in the driver's chair in terms of the arts. Like I am out there as a director. Like I'm working for Disney. Disney plans to get back on the road very soon, like not July. The studios, again, that makes more sense to me that they would be ready to go by July. But so we're pushed back into early winter. I'm actually not I don't think supposed to give an exact date. But Lion King is gonna go again for sure, 100%. And I think it's gonna lead the charge really. And I'm proud to work for a company that has that kind of enthusiasm for restarting the engine. And yes, it is about economics for sure. It is about putting these people back to work for sure. But it is equally about Disney's vision for the arts. Like I am a Disney convert, and I know that I work for Disney now. But if you know me, I didn't grow up as a Disney kind of kid. I was just not a Disney princess type. Go figure. But the company kind of recruited me a little bit, and I've been impressed by not only the way that they operate, but the way that they support artists and support the creation of new work. And I know sometimes we can look at it and be like, oh, look at that company, they own everything. And even I say that sometimes about various companies or whatever. But the Disney vision, his artistic vision, was about family entertainment, like, and creating new work all the time. And like the company still is very much like that. Like they're constantly supporting artists. And so I think like it's a part of the mission to get the train up and running again. And so much of Disney's, I guess, like influence or revenue, however you want to look at it, is live. So much of it comes from the parks, more
Right.
so than from, just like video sales. You would think people really do like to get out with their family and go to Disney World or Disneyland or wherever, Universal Studios, whatever it is. And so that's what's next, is getting our engine back on track. And because we are stewards of the community, we are the mirror of the community, we are the philosophers, us and the comedians. But it's like the artists and the comedians are the philosophers of the community, and the community needs us. The community needs us to entertain them and reflect back at them what we see. We're invaluable to it. So I'm going to be right there in the front line going, here we go. I'm going to be right there cutting the ribbon, reopening the thing. Like, here's the new project, working on new stuff. I'm writing, I'm thinking about launching a podcast. I need a producer, but like, I'm thinking about it. Don't want to do it by myself, but have a cool idea. I'm writing, working on new theater projects and stuff like that for the future. And standing behind Disney and the arts to reopen.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna be right there with you.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, what else are we gonna do? Like sit down and no. Like our contribution is in the arts. This is
Yeah.
what we do. This is what I have done, and I've had leaner years than this year. Trust me.
Okay.
Trust me. Yeah, I've had way leaner years than this year. Like in terms of financially, like. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Like, yeah, no, this is, no, this is bad for the world, but it's also, I don't want to say the word good for the world, but there's something to the pause that has happened right now. Can I share an anecdote with you? Like, do we have time for that?
Yeah, we had a little time. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So have you ever seen that? Well, it'll only matter if you've seen that movie Apocalypto, Mel Gibson's Apocalypto. Oh man. All right, so it doesn't matter.
Nope.
Yeah, it's an analogy about the world. Well, I'll tell it for all of the viewers /
Okay.
listeners who have seen it. Basically, it's a movie about the Mayan empire, just before white colonialists came to conquer and to colonize the Mayan Indians. They were this incredibly advanced society. So basically, you had the Mayans that lived in the city, and you had the Mayans that lived in the jungle still. Mayans that lived in the city used to attack and enslave the Mayans that lived in the jungle. Now, this is all Mel Gibson fiction. I'm not trying to say it's historically accurate. I'm trying to just set up the movie so that I can make an analogy. Anyway, so you have the Mayan that lives in the country. He gets kidnapped, and then he gets in a fight with the Mayans that live in the city, and they're chasing him, and he's running for his life. Like, this is literally the battle between the old of the tradition and the new, which is the corrupt city where everything is all crazy and decadent, and the simple country life. And so the old, the new crazy corruption is chasing the old Mayan, and there's two guys, and they're on his tail, and they're going to kill him. And they're chasing him through the jungle, and he's running for his life, and he's saving his family, and he's like life or death. And he runs out onto the beach, and then he stops, and he's just sitting there looking at the water. And then the two Mayans that are going to kill him, they're coming up from behind him. They've got their freaking swords, and they're ready to, or their spears, whatever it is, and they're ready to kill him. And they stop too, and they look out at the water, and coming up on the beach are the white settlers. And I'm just like, yeah, this is a metaphor for what was happening to us as a planet. It's like we were chasing each other, just like killing each other. We're just after each other. We're just like, you can't step to the left without being in a lawsuit. You can't be a Black person walking down the street and not get shot. You can't go for a jog and not get hunted and shot. You can't go into the grocery store without getting tased. You can't, say something without everybody on the internet tearing you down or unfriending you. We're just like killing each other. And you can't vote without having some ridiculous guy in the White House. It's like, we're just after each other, after it. And then here comes this way bigger thing, this way larger, more enormous event that makes everybody stop in their tracks and go, holy moly, now let's all look at that.
Right.
And it changed the world. Like when those, colonists came, and this pandemic is going to change us, and it's up to us as to how that happens, and I, for one, want to be on, the good side of the force, but it's that kind of pause that I mean. That's a kind of, a good pause in a way, because we were definitely fucking up.
Okay. Well, that's a good way of putting a pause and all that. I do appreciate you as always,
Yeah.
of sharing your time. How can people follow you on social media?
Well, I'm Ameenah Kaplan pretty much anywhere. It's AMEENAH KAPLAN. You type that in. I'm pretty easy to find because I think I'm the only one with that particular name. And so, yeah. And so, unfortunately, the internet has figured out everything about me, so I have nothing to hide, basically. And so, yeah, you can find me on Twitter, I think, at Drummer Girl. You can find me on Instagram at Drummer Girl, AKK, my initials, and Facebook, wherever, Google, all of it. I'm easy to find.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking your time to talk to me, talk to the audience, and I'll see you on the flip side.
Thank you, girl.
And that was another amazing show. I want to thank my guest, Miss Ameenah Kaplan, our sponsor, Pterodon Entertainment, my engineer, DJ Talented. And hey, if you guys have any questions, please send your questions to info@pterodoment.com. That's info@pterodoment.com. Ameenah will make a video answering your question, giving you a shout out, and I will repost. So, you guys be safe, and we're out.